1 minute 50, the positioning amongst the crews here will be crucial. Can you find the wind in that pre-start? Can you be foiling at full speed? You see the blue dot on the top end of the start line as we look at it. That's effectively pole position. That is the computer model's perfect place to start. Who can get there and who can be foiling when they arrive.
Well, I'm not surprised the bottom of the line is strong in this. I've been looking at the course setup and what race management are doing. It's a very, very short start line. There's not much room to get all F50s off the line. You can see it there. It's such a short start line. The other feature on the race course is there isn't much distance from the start to Mark 1. So if you start at the bottom of the screen, or we'd say top of the line, you haven't got much distance to get around the other boats. In terms of wind, the wind is reloading from the left, so the pressure is coming down from the left, but the shift is going right. Lots for the tacticians to think about.
Everyone desperately trying to be down towards that blue arrow. That's our pole position. That's the perfect place to start, and the crews are a bit concerned about getting too close to the Saint-Tropez shoreline, Todd, and running out of wind.
So as we saw yesterday in practice, so was Great Britain. It was at the other end of the line, but they came in so fast and so hot, up and foiling by the time the line went white.
Go. We've got a nice slow build up here to things. The French Billy Besson, nicely positioned. Ben Ainsley's very aggressive down there. Will he be able to squeeze in? But my eyes are on Nathan Outridge and the Japanese boat. He's caught himself a long way from the line. That's Draper. He's talking to Chris Draper there. Can we get behind him? He's trying to build speed, trying to get foiling, but it's Ben Ainsley on the British boat, Billy Besson, hometown hero. And in the background, in there comes Peter Burling, already on the foils, diving for a gap. Can he find his way through the Kiwi boat? Peter Burling, he's on the foils, but he's struggling to find wind. It's a brilliant start from Besson. Tight at the top for the Danish crew. Besson, Burling and Ainsley win that start for me.
And up and foiling here in race number 1 at France Sail Grand Prix from Saint-Tropez. It's a 3-boat race right now as they make their way to mark number 1, and it looks like the Kiwis on the inside have the best position.
Perfect start, and on the inside it's Peter Burling. That's Ben Ainsley there, the voice of Ben Ainsley, talking about an early jibe. He clearly sees wind the other way. A chance to split at mark number 1. You can carry on, or you can jibe and try and find wind on the other side. A split here from Ben Ainsley. Be interesting to see what happens as the Kiwi crew set up to jibe as well. Voice there of Ian Jensen. He's steering the boat after the jibe. There's a split on the course now, and they'll be looking for opportunity, but it's a good jibe by Burling and Tuke as we come back on with the British crew. 3 on the boat. They're multitasking out there today.
And no question about it. You see the wind right at 18 kilometers an hour. So it is New Zealand, Great Britain, and France. And you see the rest of the fleet on the backside. Stevie and Freddie, they are having all kinds of issues.
They're trying to wind it down a little bit now. Probably not going to make it in 1. Probably right down.
That's Peter Burling talking to Blair Tuke. Doesn't think he can make the gate without another jibe, so they're going to have to try and minimise these manoeuvres. Of course, pressure on this New Zealand crew. They really need to make a move if they're going to move up that overall standings to try and make the top 3 position by the end of season 2.
And what we've seen with New Zealand over the first 4 events of the season, they've started well, and we rank that with how they get to mark 1. But they are the worst in the fleet at moving back throughout the race. They're ranked 8th overall there. They cannot hold their positions. Let's see if they can hold their position of first place here.
Well, they've got a nice lead right now, coming up on 60 meters ahead of Great Britain, 2nd, France in 3rd, but then look at the drop-off. Back to Japan, Denmark, the USA, more than 700 meters back.
Port down. He's gone above, turning.
That was the voice of Blair Tuke telling us that the British have jibed as well. It looks to me like the Kiwis have jibed very late there. It's going to be tight. Can Ben Ainsley find his way down to the mark on the British boat and squeeze inside? If they're overlapped, he'll be all right, but look at the boat speed build on the Kiwi boat. He's flying around the outside. Looks like Burling should cling on. It's going to be tight on the yellow line here.
There's a 10-kilometre-an-hour difference as they slingshot round the first leeward gate. We heard Ainsley say stand by for an early tack. He confirms that call to the crew, and we see Ian Jensen sprint across the boat to set up to drive on the exit.
Go for it or not, we're at 43.
43. He's talking about the boat speed that he has there. They need to be travelling at 45 kilometres an hour to be able to look for a foiling tack. So it's important to look on that on the boat.
He's hit a big header over there.
That's the voice
As they go
of
through
Chris
gate number
Draper.
2, Japan now.
39 is good, 40 is
That's
good.
the voice of Chris Draper we're hearing here. He's talking to Nathan Outridge, talking about the speed he wants the boat to be going at, and they set up to tack.
Touch and go.
Touch and go. It's pretty rare we hear that in these boats. That means Nathan knew the boat wasn't fast enough. He's got to put it in the water. As you can see, that hull on the right-hand side, it's in the water, like the Kiwi boat on screen now. Who can get on the foil quickest? Build the speed, ease the foil up, lift the boat out of the water.
Almost hit the race to that top on the right.
So Japan currently in third. They went around Mark 1 in fourth, and they did pretty well to get to Mark 1 in fourth, because with 10 seconds to go until the start gun, they were getting held out and didn't look in a great spot.
But look at that, we've had a split. First bloke to tack was Ben Ainsley. He's heading back towards Saint-Tropez, but the wind looks like it's turning right. Ben Ainsley could have found a shorter distance up this course. When they come back together, he'll be on starboard tack. And if it's close, he'll have the right of way.
So this is the case of pressure versus shift. The wind is bending to the right-hand side, which means if you get out to the right-hand side of the course, you can really make hay when the sun shines. They're going over to gain on that shift and taking the lead off the Kiwis.
And right now it is Great Britain with that slight lead. New Zealand in second, Japan, then France. The USA mired back in 6th place right now, so after a terrible start, they got some work to do, but Great Britain, Ben Ainsley, just like they did in practice yesterday, finding the faster portion of the course, and they have the lead now on leg 3 of 6.
Okay, we're over the hump.
Look, that's a big change. That's a 120-metre gain from Ben Ainsley there. He was 60 metres behind halfway down the first downwind, but he's now in the lead. And Nathan Outridge, light wind specialist, he's found some great boat speed here, and he's making the gains.
I'm coming back in. And rudder if you can. Yeah.
So that's
Gotta get through this pump.
Luke Parkinson talking to Ben Ainsley. Luke Parkinson's normally the flight controller, and he's just trying to help Ben Ainsley there with some suggestions of some little changes while he works hard on the grinder handles.
So the fleet follows at the moment. No one will lay if we don't lay.
That is the voice of Luke Parkinson. When you're talking about a sailing all-rounder, this guy fits the bill. He is the flight controller. He's one of the fittest grinders I've ever sailed with, and he's chipping in with the tactics there.
And a round-the-world yachtsman as well, winner of the round-the-world race. Done it all, Luke
Japan
Parkinson.
now moving into 2nd place, so New Zealand, to Freddie's point, unable to hold that lead. They've dropped from 1st back to 3rd place. The Americans have dropped from 6th to 7th.
Japan won't lay. Kiwis might. Stand by.
Okay, so that's the voice of Luke Parkinson. He's talking about laying. What does that mean? That means with no more manoeuvres, we can make the mark. There's been a wind shift. That means the New Zealand boat have found a tighter angle. They can progress up the course a bit quicker, but it looks like they've run out of wind. Nathan Outridge at 40 kilometres an hour. Ben Ainsley at just 23, but he's already heading towards gate number 3. No more manoeuvres required to get round this gate. Can the Kiwis stay on the foils and sneak round, closing this gap down?
Except maybe the Kiwi.
We're talking about pressure versus shift, and the British team made their gain on this upwind by the right-hand shift, but there is now less wind on the right-hand side of the course where the British are heading. The New Zealand team are going to the best breeze on the left side.
So as they make their way through this gate, it is still Great Britain out in front, and look like the Kiwis are starting to gain on them. So closing the gap, New Zealand now takes a slight lead over Great Britain. Japan in 3rd place. Big surprise for me, guys, is Australia sitting in 8th. After what they did in practice yesterday, we're hearing that they had some problems at the pre-start, so did not get the best start what Tom Slingsby is accustomed to.
That was the voice of Nathan Outridge there, just saying, look, Ben Ainsley's jibe soon. We might need to jibe soon as well. You've got to use all the clues you can on the course.
Here's leg 3 summary, the last upwind. Look at the 2.6 kilometres sailed by the British. That is the right shift and the tactical gain they made.
But only 2 maneuvers by the Kiwis, so they make up ground going from 3rd now into 1st place, and they trade positions with Great Britain constantly as we listen to Ben Ainsley.
Should be able to get to ley line.
If they can get to ley line, that's great news for the British. You can minimise those manoeuvres. It's always a question of, do we sail fast or do we sail a shorter distance? And at the moment, Ben Ainsley, well, he made the right call at gate number 3, and he's now in the lead 150 metres ahead at New Zealand, close with Japan here. Tight moment in the race here. Japan must keep clear. Oh, that was tight. Nathan Outridge, the wind whisperer, up into second place. Loves these light winds. What can he do?
And look at the speed on Japan, 53 kilometers an hour as Great Britain drops down to 40. New Zealand starting to build back up into the 50s. Remember, it's down to this next gate, then upwind, and then the blast into the finish line.
A penalty, France. Boundary penalty, France.
Oh, and an unforced error for Billy Besson in France, currently sitting in fourth.
Man, France just sail around with their penalty lights on constantly. They are the team that is always getting penalties and an unforced error by sailing off the pitch.
And how are you a penalty magnet in home waters?
Well, you'd have thought they'd know their way around here, wouldn't you, the French guys? But clearly pushing their luck. Maybe thought the umpires would be on their side, but not to be.
So the penalty is gone, and it's back on for France.
So they lost that penalty by sailing slower than their optimum speed. They lose 2 boat lengths of distance relative to the boats ahead, but they're a long way behind Great Britain at gate 4 as Ben Ainsley. It's a masterful display on this downwind leg. Found good wind and is heading back towards that right-hand side that's done him well so far in the race, Freddie.
Ben Ainsley showing that he can certainly race with just 3 on board, down from the traditional 5. It is Japan that has now moved into second place, carrying a lot of speed here at gate 4.
They stuffed the bow underwater a little bit though. Slight mistake from Outridge around there, but tactically good downwind leg, keen for an early tack, and the Kiwis, they're going to split the course, turning right at the bottom here. It's an opportunity to find more wind on a different side of the course. Could be a gain, but it could be a loss. Have they picked it right?
Is anyone else just a little bit excited about a potential GBR Japan windward mark coming together?
I think we're all looking forward to that, aren't we? Will Nathan Outridge take a dive again? That's the question. But here we go, Burling and Toop. Well, they're sailing the boat well. 40 seconds behind at gate 4. That's a big loss from leading at gate number 3. What can they do on this upwind leg?
And now you've got traffic as the boats coming down like USA, France, Spain, and Australia in the mist as Great Britain way out in front with Japan in second and New Zealand in chase as we go on board with the Brits.
New Zealand tack. Looks like they're down at the moment.
That's the voice of Luke Parkinson again. And Ben Ainsley there, hooked up into a righty. That means the winds turn to the right. Should mean they can sail a shorter distance up this leg and progress to the next gate fastest. Final upwind leg here, guys. Not a lot left of this race.
They can do it in one, I think. Pressure look all right? Pressure looks okay, yeah.
So the lead almost 200 meters right now, first to second place as Japan has slowed considerably. Look at the speeds, 41 plus kilometers an hour for the Brits and just around 30 for Japan.
As soon as you tack and fall off the foils, it can be really costly. And the British are foiling fast, but Burling is foiling. Outridge is just up on the foils in second place as the British now. They make one more tack here to try and stay with their opposition, but at the moment, they're in a comfortable position.
And the numbers you can see next to the nationality flags are their ride height, and you can see the British number go down to minus 0.1 as they crashed out the air. What you're looking for in that number is as close to 1 meter as possible, as the Japanese just touched it there. That is optimum foiling height.
Just whether we commit to lay here or not.
Well, and it's interesting there to see the Australian crew still in 8th place this late on in the race. Their main rival, Ben Ainsley and the British crew, stretching out ahead. And in the background, Japan versus New Zealand. That's going to be a real race to the finish here.
So Australia, the winners of the last event in Denmark, they are the defending champions of SailGP. Right now they find themselves in last place. The battle is up front. Great Britain with the lead. New Zealand is second and Japan in a tight battle in third.
This is the umpire's boundary penalty. New Zealand boundary.
Oh, New Zealand hit with a boundary penalty.
Wow, that's a big call there. New Zealand need to lose boat lengths of distance relative to Japan here to get rid of that penalty. But at this stage in the race, they only had 10 meters advantage. They will be behind Japan.
Going.
And the boat position Mark 1 to now New Zealand fulfilling their prophecy of being great starters and falling back through the fleet. and the Japanese are the form fleet boat sailing through the fleet.
Guys, let's not forget, this is a big race win for Great Britain. There's 2 more still to go. Not sure exactly what the wind's going to do. It was projected to be lighter than this, so this has got to be amazing to put these points in the bank for Great Britain, already with a win as they build to the top 3 with just about 300 meters to go for the win.
There's the finish line to the left of the screen. Ben Ainsley's right up under the Saint-Tropez shoreline here. There's not a lot of wind, but look at that. Oh, they've just nursed it up onto the foils. Boat skimming. Is it going to pop up to get them there? That should mean they're safe right now. It's light winds at this finish line, but Ben Ainsley, what a job.
Race number 1 goes the way of Great Britain SailGP and Saint-Tropez. Light winds and Ben Ainsley and the 3-man crew get the victory.
Downwind ley lines are a little bit optimistic as well, eh?
And look at this. They've almost come to a standstill as Japan has moved into 2nd place ahead of Pete Burley and New Zealand.
Oh, he's going in there. Oh, don't go in there, New Zealand, surely.
Don't mess with Nathan Outridge at a windward mark. That could be a big mistake. That penalty costly for Japan. What are the umpires going to make of that? Who can first pop on the foot?
Trying to take off when we can. Should take off.
Who can pop on the foil first here? It looks tight. It looks like the Japanese are first up. Wow, that was tight. And the Spanish in the background.
Phil Robertson of Spain coming into view. Can they sneak underneath the Kiwis and steal 3rd place?
I think it's going to be hard for New Zealand from here if they can't fly in this lighter wind. Phil Robertson's done a great job on that upwind leg, keeping the boat fast. It's going to be tight.
So New Zealand's going to take 2nd place, and look at this, Phil Robertson, we've got contact coming.
Oh, Peter Burling must stay clear. It was an aggressive move by Robertson, the match race world champion. Penalty New Zealand again.
New Zealand, when the boat not keeping clear, penalty clear.
Wow.
Oh my word, the penalty clear as the Spanish have passed, but it's 3rd for Robertson and Burling. Wow, what a last few minutes in the race.
So they go from 1st to 4th, looking around to make sure they're not going to lose another position.
Boy, oh boy.
That got interesting.
The last reach is quite often a procession, not today.
And here comes Jimmy Spithill cruising in. So Spithill, trying to close the gap and limit his damages, will come in 5th place for the Americans. That's better than they were mired just 7th about 10 minutes ago. They'll take those points and look to improve upon that in race 2. Denmark will come in 6th place. And big surprise for me, guys, to see France and Australia at the back of the pack.
Well, yeah, Australia had an absolute shocker of a start. They were down at the pin end, the favoured end of the line, but they were too thin on the ley line, low speed, and when their gun went, they were doing about 10 kilometres an hour.
So the race has been terminated on time. Great Britain has won the first race of 3 scheduled for today's France Sail Grand Prix, day 1 here in Saint-Tropez. Everyone thought the winds would be light. Freddie, I got to feel pretty good. They're seeing what they're seeing out there because they're getting a chance to get the boats up and foiling. So 1 minute away now from the start of race number 2 after it was pushed back nearly 5 minutes, and it looks to be Australia out there, so they've got those problems sorted out. We'll see if they stick.
I've got some breaking news, though. I've just heard the onboard comms. They've got no computers on board the boat, but everything is working. So the boat's working. They can sail the boat, but they're sailing blind in terms of instrumentation.
So they're going old school.
They are going old school. That's how Billy Besson likes to sail, but no one else likes to sail without instruments.
Well, it's not going to be easy because, of course, this course is laid down. It's not drawn out on the water. It is a computer-generated course that we're seeing here, and the sailors see it the same way. And with 20 seconds to go, out the back of the fleet, Nathan Outridge, normally good in these conditions, but is he going to find a gap? Besson, again, playing it safe in space. But it's Tom Slingsby diving in with 14 seconds to go.
And
he looks like he's doing a pretty good job of the man. Jimmy Spithill coming through on the foils, that's quite right, but Besson turning down. Has Jimmy timed it well? Besson looks good. Phil Robertson looks good on the foils on the Spanish boat. I think it's going to be Besson at the top of the line, up on the foils. Great start by the French, great start by Phil Robertson, and Besson must keep out of his way as they blast towards mark number 1. It seems like Phil Robertson could have the shot at the mark.
That was an old school Phil Robertson start, gunning in at the top end. He got black flag for it, but there was no rule infringement there. He timed it perfectly. It looks like he might lead at mark 1.
So at mark number 1, it is a race to that inside line. There you see Japan carrying almost 50 kilometers an hour as they reach the circle. And now the turn. And Freddie, you talked about this. Look how close it is to the out of bound mark. And it's going to be Spain that maneuvers first.
That's right, good choice to jibe away first. They're manoeuvring away from that boundary as we see the French. They've pushed out well towards the boundary here, hoping to find clearer wind, but they're close to the line there. That looks, it's a penalty on them. They've got to lose 20 meters compared to their top speed. Unforced error by the French again, and that's just not acceptable. They're going to have to lose distance, and this early in the race, that's so costly.
Quick reminder, they are back to the three-man cruise, which they sailed in race number 1 because of the light wind. There you see the red light flashing on the back of France, meaning the penalty has not been absolved.
Penalty Denmark, boundary penalty Denmark.
So Denmark also with a boundary penalty.
I want to point out here, the breeze is built to the highest wind speed of the day, almost 20 kilometers an hour, and they are only 3 crew on board. That is going to be seriously hard work for the grinder flight controllers.
So despite the penalty, France out in front, Spain in second, USA third, and Japan now as we go on board with Nathan Outteridge and his squad sitting in fourth.
That's right, he sat in 4th place, but that's Morishima on the grinder there. He's got to work hard into this manoeuvre.
France, you have a penalty outstanding. You have a penalty outstanding. Boundary.
Here we go.
French crew must have misheard that on the penalty. This is going to get costly for them if they don't take it soon. Not sure what's wrong on board the French boat. They don't seem to be responding. Gate 2, and it looks like Jimmy Spithill come through from 3rd place. Excellent decisions on that downwind leg. He's up into the lead with the French still with a penalty turning upwind. Phil Robertson in 3rd place. It's tight as the fleet come out of gate 2.
I mean, I know famously Billy Besson doesn't look at his instruments, but come on, man, you've had a penalty for the whole downwind. Surely you're aware of that.
There's a big flashing red light on the back there. That's not acceptable. The penalty's still there. What's this consequence going to be for them?
We're on board with the French here, and there's the red light. The green light says they're in the boundary. Look behind you, boys. You've got a penalty. You have a boundary penalty. And Craig Mitchell, the umpire, is just going to keep laying on the penalty here.
I don't think we have a penalty. Yes, we have one. Okay. What the umpires have said?
That's Lee McMillan there, the British wing trimmer, questioning the penalty.
Okay, I've just heard from onboard Australia, they're talking of pulling out of this race because they've still got their ongoing issues.
Top of screen, Jimmy Spithill on board the USA boat. He took the left turn at the bottom. He's found more wind near Saint-Tropez and he's moved into the lead. This is a big moment in the race as the French try and lose their penalty.
Spain now with a penalty being assessed.
And the Americans on starboard, we are behind.
Coming in from the right, in the lead, it's the USA and Jimmy Spithill. Billy Besson must keep clear. He must go behind him. He has cleared the penalty, still in the race. Got away lightly with that one, if you ask me. And in the background there, Peter Burling, he's come to this Saint-Tropez shoreline, the right-hand side, proving favourable at the moment. And Besson heading back towards that side. Look at the speed on board the US boat. Great work by Jimmy Spithill.
Oh boy, look at that. 6 boats within 100 metres of each other. The boat to look at is maybe the boat in 7th. Denmark on starboard is the dictating boat.
French and the Japanese have come through nicely. Talking about ley line, that's where they can make that next gate. And right now, the French are doing a nice job. They've cleared their penalty. Can they stay on the foils through that tack? Great tack by the French crew there. Kept the boat in the air. Brilliant work by Besson and Morvan and McMillan. And they're right in the race as we charge upwind here.
USA with the lead. New Zealand in second. France in third.
There's our ride height numbers again. Top left next to the nationality flags. The closer you get to 1 metre, the better you are foiling, the faster you will go. That's a really interesting thing to dial into to rate our flight controllers on board.
An interesting thing today, of course, Freddie, is a lot of the helmsmen are doing the flight control. And we've got those slightly different roles. We've got Jimmy Spithill, he's flying the boat. Nathan Outteridge, he's flying the boat. And Outteridge, the Japanese team there, they've made a nice gain here. Can he make it up to the gate? He has the right of way. Anyone close to him must keep clear. Burling on port tack will have to go behind him. It's going to be tight as they come into this turning mark. In fact, can Outteridge get round? He's got to slow up. Give Burling the opportunity to dive inside. Otherwise, that situation. But turning away, Jimmy Spithill leads. Nathan Outteridge up into second place. But it's the Kiwis on the foils, and they're going to be charging off downwind.
Down 2 if you want it else up.
Moving on now to leg 4 of 6. It's the USA in the lead. Japan now sliding into second place with New Zealand in third. They thread the needle at the top of the course. 4 boats occupying such a small area.
middle of the pack, it's the British crew at the moment. Of course, so good in the first race, but a bad start, it shows anyone's going to struggle with that. The Danish sneaking inside the Spanish here at the top of the course, and it's really, really opportunity time. Oh, big turn by the Spanish. They've overturned their big mistake. That's going to cost them some meters as we head off downwind. Big moment in the race, halfway point in the race, Todd, and it's now or never for those crews behind.
So gate number 3 proves successful for the Americans as they inherited the lead on leg number 2. USA, Jimmy Spithill and the Bionic Man, Paul Campbell-James. Well, what did he tell us in the interview, guys? We just got to beat more boats, and they're doing exactly that here in race 2.
Bottom left, New Zealand went round Mark 1 in 7th. Normally they don't sail up through the fleet. Right now they are duking it out for second place. Sailed a lovely first upwind.
I think it's quite important to remember these guys have won a couple of America's Cups, 3 Olympic medals. You know, they're not muppets. They're going to work this thing out at some stage, you know. And it's going to take time. They're up against the best in the world, and they're doing a nice job today. But as you say, Jimmy Spithill saying we've just got to keep it simple, and that's what they're doing. The voice there we heard Nathan Outridge and Chris Draper discussing tactics. They're saying, what can we do? Can we make it to gate 4 with no more manoeuvres or not? Jimmy Spithill, well, he's right on the money, easy for a right turn, and he should be in gate 4 in the lead.
All right, I heard talk of a JK, Stevie. Who's going to do the JK?
Well, that'll be the Japanese crew looking for a head up and an early tack. But I think that's a big move. They're not fast enough, so I'd be very surprised if they went for that in this situation.
So I'm just hearing from race control, they are shortening the course and we're going to finish at the next windward gate. We do not have the reach to the finish.
Just keep it going to the boundary.
So this is the last leg, 5 of 5 as the shortening of the course comes in the midst of it. So that's good news for the USA. They just need to hang on and keep New Zealand and Japan at bay for the time being, and they'll take the win in race number 2.
Bad tack by the New Zealand crew there. Dug that old hull in. That was a bit of an unforced error. Looks good for the USA at the moment. The battle in the middle of the pack is so tight. Tom Slingsby hardly got any instruments on that boat, but he's keeping himself in the fight, moving up to 7th at the moment. Points here will be vital. If they get themselves more time to fix the boat, it could be huge. As we see Besson and the French crew, they've dropped back. One mistake, so costly for Besson.
It's hard to see that happen. France on home water sitting in dead last in 8th. Remember, they had a 7th in the first race, so they need the points badly as the USA maintains their lead.
So the USA have extended their lead at the moment, doing a nice job, great boat speed, foiling fast, and on a lovely angle, progressing up the course quickly.
Here's some good head-to-head stuff here. Average speed from America is the highest in the race. This is why you rush one of your key guys back from injury. One of the key people in boat speed is Paul Campbell-James on the wing, and they are leading all 3 key statistics in this race.
The fastest healer on water, Paul Campbell-James, after having surgery on the broken leg after Aarhus. Here he is sailing in Saint-Tropez just a short time. I think if you quizzed most orthopedic surgeons, they'll say, no, we do not recommend you go sailing in an F50 this short after operation. But here he is with Jimmy Spithill and crew, just 3 men on board, and they maintain more than a 200-meter, now a 150-meter lead over Japan in 2nd.
Todd, they fell off the foils just before the tack, and they're going to struggle to build speed here. Here we go. This is a big moment now. Can Nathan Outridge stay in wind and stay on the foils and close down on this Japanese crew? 24 kilometers now, 30 kilometers now is needed to get up on the foil. Outridge is going fast enough to do a foiling tack if they can nail it.
There is the finish line, less than 200 meters away for the USA. Can they hold on? Look at the speed. And a nice tack as they keep it up on the foils for Japan.
Oh, too high, too high, too high. Whoa, look at the distance they lost sideways. They've stayed foiling, but in the top of picture, Spithill is foiling again. I think it's too little too late for Outridge, but for a moment, that was wide open. And it looks like Outridge has got through to 2nd as he passes Burling.
So with the shortened course, it plays to the favor of USA, and Australia gets the boundary violation, but it's the Americans that will claim the win on 9/11 on race number 2 as Jimmy Spithill and the 3-man crew guide their boat to a victory here in Saint-Tropez.
Let's go downwind just in case.
Great final upwind leg there for Nathan Outridge and the Japanese crew. They just kept the boat foiling quite fast.
Control it a bit, eh?
And he's done a nice good moving through. That's a nice bit of a touch there from Altridge. Quite agree. Keep the language good for us on board the boat. Nice second place. Consistency's the king for Altridge. 2 out of 2 in this light breeze.
And having a nice laugh with Timur Shima and Chris Draper on board. Now the race is on for 3rd place. The USA gets the win, Japan 2nd, and it looks like the Kiwis in New Zealand will get 3rd. Remember, they came off of 4th place in race number 1, so an improvement here as they go to 3rd.
They've done a nice job here, the Kiwi crew. They had a bad start, but they came back nicely, and it's tight behind. We saw the Australians just not quite making the mark. Phil Robertson in 4th sailed a really solid race. Here he goes, squeezing up. Will he get there before the British? Yes, just meters in it. And Tom Slingsby, well, he's got one arm tied behind his back, but if he can get a 6th here, he'll keep himself in the fight and give them a chance to fix the boat.
Well, Slingsby was up in 4th spot on our leaderboard before he got the boundary penalty. I mean, that's pretty impressive getting there without any data.
Well, you just don't know where the...
Slingsby, chase boat, we got no software at all.
Up on the starboard side still isn't working.
So Australia comes through despite the problems. They finished in 6th place, and it'll be Denmark coming in 7th, and unfortunate for the local fans as France backs up the 7th from race number 1, and they finished dead last in 8th in race 2.
And now Tom Slingsby, well, he's had a last place and a 6th place. And he's really got some work to do at this stage. He's been struggling at the back of the pack. Technical issues or no technical issues. This is the winner of the last 2 events. He won the Moth World Championships just a week ago.
And the defending champions.
Yeah, he is the hottest property out on the water at the moment. He needs to make a move here.
Okay, the 3 boats that are on my radar are Denmark, Australia and France. They are a long way off the front 5. The front 5 are Japan, USA, New Zealand and Spain, all between 11 and 14 points. If Denmark, Australia and France don't win this race, I'm going to chuck it out there and say their weekend could well be over already.
Still 2 races coming tomorrow before that final race where the top 3 boats will compete, and that's where the big points are and an opportunity to win the France Sail Grand Prix. The Americans did themselves a solid coming in race number 2 and getting the win to back up that 5th.
Well, here we go, 37 seconds to go. Tom Slingsby, well, he knows he needs to make something happen. And look, he's leading the fleet back here. Phil Robertson, here we go. He's up to the left of the screen. He's giving himself a run-up. Can he find a gap? I think he will be able to find a gap from here. It's going to be really tight. Here comes Robertson, building speed, up onto the foils. As the Australian crew now, Tom Slingsby has great control, but has Phil Robertson timed it right? He seems very early. It's the voice of Florian Trittle saying we're too early here, we're too early. He's got the end of the line locked off, but it's all about speed at the gun. Who's going to make it? There's the line clear. The French jump through. Has Robertson got room? Yes, he has. But my word, that was tight at the top, and it looks like Slingsby's going to get the boat up on the foils and should lead from here at Mark 1.
Oh, what a tonic from Slingsby. He defended Phil Robertson and got a great start himself. That is so hard to do. He shut one boat down and launched himself onto the course.
Quality action and all the pressure on him there. He needs this one.
He needs this race.
So Tom Slingsby leading Australia to mark number 1. They've got the clear lead. What can they do with it? As Ali reported, the winds are holding steady right around 19 kilometers an hour. And Nikolaj Sehested in Denmark, SailGP presented by Rockwell, sitting in 2nd place. So good to see the red and white running out in front with the Aussies.
Great start by Sehested. Here we are, the Australian boat setting up for that jibe. We've got a great overhead view here. It's a chance now. They're trying to get down to gate 2. The first to jibe away, Denmark. They're trying to find the best new wind as the Australians go right to boundary. By going to the boundary, you give yourself the best chance of minimising manoeuvres. They've stayed on the foils. Lovely jibe by the Australians, 100 metres ahead already.
Yeah, that's a standout, Stevie. Massive split across the 8 boats already. 2 of the boats that I said needed to do well in this race is Australia and Denmark. Right now, got an Australia-Denmark 1-2.
Guys, let's go back to the start of race number 3, and once again, no surprise to see Spain involved. Look at this, the final seconds before the start.
Oh, we've missed him, haven't we, Todd? We've missed a bit of Robertson entertainment. The aggression's back, the fire's in the belly, and wow, he was aggressive. Florian Drittel telling him, you're too early, you're too early, too early. Not in Phil Robertson's mind, he wasn't. Here we go, half a chance. I'm going to get in there, shut the door. Coming across the front of the USA boat. We're on board the USA boat at that moment, but it was brilliant work by Robertson, aggressive, but Slingsby, he was equal to it, and we're back live, approaching gate 2. Solid first downwind leg from Tom Slingsby, and he really needs to make this stick.
So coming into gate number 2, it's Australia in the lead. They need this victory desperately to stay in the hunt for the big final race coming tomorrow after 2 more fleet races. Nikolai Sehested and...
Yeah, this is the umpires. It's a penalty, USA relative Spain. Port tack boat not keeping clear.
So the Americans with an unforced error on Spain, they'll be forced to drop back 1 position and yield that 3rd place.
It's happened really close. That line there, the USA must get behind that to clear the penalty. It's going to be tight. They need to clear it soon, or it could be really costly going further down the course. Still not clear. They're behind the Spanish here. Surely that penalty's going to scrub off fairly soon. Well, look, there it is. It's clear. That just in time for Jimmy Spittle. And Billy Besson, well, he found space on this downwind leg. He's on the inside as they approach the mark here. He needs this. He's up to 5th, but can he sneak round inside Jimmy Spittle? No, he can't. Spittle just far enough ahead there. And Besson, he's in the pack, but he needs to make a move from here. Good first downwind leg from the French crew.
First 2 boats are gone right now, but from 3 through to 6, we have got a proper dogfight.
We have. It's light winds at the bottom of the course. That was Francois Morvan there, his little head, the front flight controller in the middle of shot there, calling a H1. Don't try and foil tack, Billy. Keep the speed in, put the hull in the water as they have, and we'll get up on the foil after the tack.
Just press really hard. Yep.
That's the voice of Lee McMillan saying press. Press means build speed, but look, top of screen, Nikolai Sehested on port tack looks to have made a gain over Tom Slingsby. The wind has shifted to the left, so Tom Slingsby has lost out, and it's big gain for Sehested here. Oh, but that's Tom Slingsby. It's not the first time that he said we're struggling today. Maybe some technical glitches on the Australian boat. You've got to keep fighting here, guys. This race is so crucial.
Happy with left turn as well. All right, heading.
Sehested talking to Tom Johnson there. They're happy with the breeze they see ahead of them. There's nothing that you want more than that. Keep the boat in wind, sailing fast and clear.
Right now, the big winners as it sits right now are the Americans, currently sitting in 3rd place. Remember, they had a 1st in the last race, a 5th in race number 1. And the question is, where are the Japanese, where are the Australians, and where's Great Britain?
The umpires, Australia boundary penalty, Australia boundary penalty.
Oh, I can't help thinking that's a software issue. That's an unforced error. He can't see the boundary. Oh, this is a disaster for Slingsby. Got to keep his frustration levels down. On board there, Sehested, right-hand screen, Slingsby on the left. And look, Slingsby's shoulders look hunched to me. He is stressed, he is tense. He needs to try and keep it calm and stay in the race, but it must be so frustrating with these glitches making his day a long, long day at the moment.
So coming up on leg 3 of 6, this will be gate number 3 as Denmark has a little bit of a moment there as they raise that 1 hole high up in the water. And here comes Jimmy Spittle and the Americans in 2nd.
That's a really, really bad tack, that, Todd. They were in a good position. They dropped both hulls into the water, and that was a mistake. But what hasn't been a mistake is their tactical decision-making. They've done a great job on this upwind leg, and they're making it stick so far. Just 1 more lap to go for the Danish, halfway point of the race. They're in the lead, but they need to keep themselves in the lead. And Jimmy Spittle, well, the pit bull's hunting him down.
So Spithill chasing down the Danes right now, who have the lead as they go through gate number 3 onto leg 4 of 6. There you see the wind. It's been pretty consistent, as Ali Vance reported, now sitting at just over 18.5 kilometers an hour. And the Kiwis rising up there, having a bit of a moment.
That's right. The Kiwis have had quite a bit of criticism for not coming through the fleet, and they're doing a great job at the moment. As we see now, Jimmy Spittle showing us in 3rd place. The Australians have made a gain at the moment, but will it turn out long-term to be that case? Sehested looks pretty calm on board, and it's nice to see Jimmy Spittle in picture as USA set up to jibe. Will Denmark follow? Yes, there goes Tom Johnson getting ready for a jibe.
The Americans follow suit right on them.
On the money from the Danish though, pressure on.
As the umpires, Australia, you have a boundary penalty. penalty clear.
Oh, wow. Craig Mitchell, ruthless. The guy can't see where the edge of the course is, Craig. Give him a break. But anyway, it's got to be the same for everyone, and that's fair enough. Now, Sehested's done a nice job on the ley line here as he sails down towards gate 4. It'll be the final upwind leg. This looks good for Sehested.
A lot of chatter on board Denmark. It'll be interesting to see what Jimmy Spithill does. The pit bull hunting him down. Does he put the pressure on Sehested and force him into a mistake?
They're both looking here for another jibe. Sehested, he's jibed too late. Spithill has the inside line. It was the right idea from Sehested, but it's too late. Spithill should get the inside at this turning mark, and that will give a lead change on the downwind leg. He's just doing the classic. Hang in there. Don't make mistakes and wait for the opposition to make a mistake. Spithill, Campbell James and Andrew Campbell, wow, they're finding their straps in these two races.
Coming off a first place finish in race number 2, have the Americans found their form? Are they on their way to winning their first event here in Saint-Tropez?
So we're on board with the Americans tacking here and the Danish tacking Simo. I'm going to take you back to the last jibe. Spithill could see that coming up, and he built his entry speed into that jibe to 53 kilometers an hour. The entry speed for the Danish jibe was 42. No wonder they jibed and rode them coming into the bottom.
Speed in equals speed out, Freddie, and we're on board with both the boats. Right-hand screed, Sehested. He's in second place. Jimmy Spithill, he's won a few races in his time, but he's going to really want to win this race. For Paul Campbell James on 9-11 for the US team. It's a great, great effort at the moment by the US crew, but it's tight as they work upwind.
Constant conversation. The battle is on between the USA and Denmark right now for the victory in race number 3.
And the French crew, Billy Besson's doing a nice job in this last race of slowly working his way through the fleet, one boat at a time. He's up to 4th. That was a good tack on the top of the screen there. And as Jimmy Spithill has got his attention firmly focused on the Danish and Nikolai Sehested, will that open an opportunity for the Spanish of Phil Robertson and the French of Billy Besson? As there's a little discussion as to where the finish line is here, guys.
This is like 5 of 6, so it's through the next gate and then off to the finish line.
That platform is totally locked and dialed into that tack. A little splash on the bow, they won't be too concerned about that. That's not too bad. I'm going to give them that. Totally locked in on the upwind.
It was. Looked like a little bit too much foil went in the middle of the tack there, and the boat just suddenly dropped out of the water, stalled the foil, and they've had to build speed. But, okay, that's Sehested. We're going to be strong enough if we come in with speed. They're maybe learning on the job. Keep that speed up, Nikolai.
You've got to keep your entry speed high into the manoeuvres. They did that badly on the last dive, on the last downwind, gave up the lead. Are they going to build big speed into the tack and attack the Americans?
Building good speed here, 47 kilometers an hour versus 43. They're a lot faster. That yellow line is where they can turn and know they'll make the finish. They need to stick this tack. If they do, it's all on. This final maneuver will be crucial.
And the Americans right there with them, so Denmark may have just run out of time and distance as Jimmy Spithill does a great job here. So it's through the gate and then it's off to the finish line.
It's good positioning here from Jimmy Spithill, and we can see Besson, he's showing us 3rd on our leaderboard. If he's stuck his last tack, it's going to be tight with Phil Robertson in 1st place. Could be 2 in a row for Jimmy Spithill and Paul Campbell James, Andrew Campbell. What a job they've done in these light conditions, but under a lot of pressure. Nikolai Sehested had to get a keeper. Looks like he's going to get it to me.
So Denmark coming in hot on the heels of the Americans, but it's Jimmy Spithill with a masterful last 2 legs, looking very good, and the Americans will make it 2 for 2 on 9-11.
This is the umpires. Penalty France, relative Spain. Penalty France, relative Spain.
Billy
Terrible
Besson.
time for France to get another penalty.
That's a really bad time. That could really open the door for Peter Burling and New Zealand on things here. Burling, here we go. It's relative to Spain, so France must get behind Phil Robertson. This is good news for Burling. If he can get the boat up on foiling, he's pushing. Robertson must stay clear. It's a similar situation to race 1. Phil Robertson has to be careful. Oh, the French, he's killed the speed. Has he killed too much speed? Burling will go through in 3rd. Robertson needs to get past him. Looks like a nice save by Besson, but wow, is that costly. 3rd to 5th on one rule incident. Great job, happy Bayois on board the Kiwi boat.
I tell you what, the tech team are going to have to change the red light bulb in the French boat, aren't they? It's been flashing all day. Oh, this is Tom Slingsby, and he is having a whinge, and I think that's fair enough.
You have got to suck it up, mate, unfortunately. Tough day.
Oh, mate. I mean, what a start by him.
Yeah, amazing start. And they've done a great job, but ultimately it's the finish that matters. And Japan, they're at the back of the pack, and Great Britain. It's been an interesting day for the season leaders. That last race has really put the cat amongst the pigeons.
So Great Britain starts off the day with a win in race number 1. They back it with a 5th place, and then they drop back to 8th on the 3rd race. But it's the Americans who get hot on races 2 and 3, and America wins those 2 races to put themselves in prime position.
Let's look at the start line here. The blue little triangle at the bottom of the course of the line is pole position, and watching all the pre-start practice they've been doing, the boat that has won that blue spot has gone on to lead at Mark 1. That, Stevie, is why everyone is congregating together at the bottom of the line.
Yeah, it's trying to get off that pole position, but that's pole position in a perfect world. Key really is who can be up on the foils foiling when this gun happens in this light wind. We've got on board Australia, Tom Slingsby's chosen to lead back a little early. That's Kyle Langford saying we're early. Not a great thing to hear. Ben Ainsley, we'll look at him hovering to the right of screen, and Peter Burling. They're going to look for a late arrival somewhere near this pole position spot. Who's timed it well? Big wing, big heel over on board the Australian boat. How are they going to turn things out? Here comes Burling, diving in across in front of the Japanese. He's got control. I like where Outeridge is, though, if he can build the space. Nate Burling trying to kill the speed desperately quickly. Here we go. We're turning down. Watch for the light to go white. They're all early here. They're all really early. Really, what is happening here? This is unbelievable. There's the line clear. Well, big wings had too much power. They're all over early. They've got penalties.
Okay, this is the
they
umpires.
all need
Japan,
to get
New
behind.
Zealand, USA, GBR, Australia, Spain, all
Wow.
over the line early. Target boat, get behind Denmark. Get behind Denmark, please.
So a rash of penalties dished out at the very start as they make their way to mark number 1.
Where's Denmark? So you've got to look for Denmark there, doing 48 kilometres an hour, right of picture. They're effectively the lead boat right now. Everybody with a P above them has got to get behind Denmark.
And France is clear. Well, they've all got new wings. I think they might need to look into new watches for the next race, because that was unbelievable timing on the boat. Sehested, this is great news, though. He finished yesterday with a 2nd place, put himself in the picture, and he needs a good wing. Oh, that's clever from Burling. Can he slot in there? Still got the penalty. Needs the French to pass him here. His penalty's cleared off. Here we go. They're into the race. Who will jibe away first? It's Outeridge. He splits the course. First to jibe. He's got a good opportunity to gain as we're on board with Sehested. Nice jibe from Denmark. Good recovery by Burling and Outeridge there at the bottom of the line, over the line, but they've come out of that in 2nd and 3rd position with some canny work.
Was that a case, guys, if they just did not anticipate the speed they were going to get off that 29-meter wing? To
Spain, you have OCS penalty still outstanding. You need to go behind GBR. Need to go behind GBR.
Todd, coming back to your question, that's exactly what happened with about 30 seconds to go to the start. The breeze built just a couple of kilometres an hour.
Yeah, you didn't clear your penalty. You didn't clear your penalty before you got to the first
Conversation
mark,
going on here between Phil Robertson on board, the Spanish, and the umpire. Anyway, yes, just got caught out by 2 kilometres an hour, no more wind. Everyone was too close to the line.
USA, you need to go behind France. Need to go behind France.
Of course, like herding cats for Craig Mitchell out there today, trying to get the boats back in formation.
They are, but look at that gate too, and Sehested has done a nice job here, as has Peter Burling on board New Zealand.
Penalty clear, penalty clear.
Taken a long time there, but that's just music to the ear of Peter Burling in the New Zealand boat. Nikolai Sejersted on board Denmark, because that's a big lead this early in the race. And Outridge in 4th place overall, and the Spanish falling back with a penalty. That could have huge consequences for the overall results today.
Look at New Zealand. They dropped both holes into the water as they reach that 2nd gate. So they've got to get that back up to speed with that 29-meter wing, and it's Denmark that has the lead. Japan's probably going to move up on this.
Top of screen there. Here we go. It's tight at the bottom with the French. I think there's going to be a feature today, Todd. These big wings, Carl Langford mentioned it, they're heavy. The tacks are really hard. The crews are struggling to foil through. But look here, the French trying to dive inside Ainsley as they come into the gate. Briviard must keep clear, must give Besson room. But Ainsley squeezing him here. Wow, there's surely a protest. Surely a protest there on the squeeze. Besson, did he have room? Let's hear what Craig Mitchell has to say, I would imagine. Oh, on board the French. Wow, for me, that was a big squeeze from Ainsley. Not sure if he gave him room there. Not surprised to hear a protest from the French.
And going around the other leeward gate here is France and our overnight leader, the USA, and they have gone to the favoured gate. The gate they have gone round is closer up to gate 3, so effectively they're already sailing a shorter distance than GBR and France. USA are going to come back with a good spot, having gone round 3 places behind those 2 boats. They could jump up the ladder instantly.
Okay, I can get you popping now.
There we go. That's Paul Campbell-James there talking to Jimmy Spittle and talking about building speed here. Listening for 30 kilometres an hour.
That's not there. It's not there. Next one.
Doesn't think he can make the speed. Let's not try and get on the foils. We'll stay on one hull, like the new Danish boat is at the moment. They're on one hull. They're not trying to go too fast. They're trying to sail a shorter distance. That's your option, always. Faster, or they're up on the foil. Now they're building speed, and now they'll start to build away into more wind.
So Denmark SailGP, presented by Rockwell, has the lead right now because of the penalties that were dished out on the first leg.
There goes the jib sheet, sailing normal.
Oh, jib sheet snapped. Jib sheet snapped on board the Danish boat. You can see the sail flapping. That's probably about 15 to 20% of their overall power.
Oh, Fred, that flappy sail is not a happy sail, and that Danish crew, they were winning the race. They were getting themselves back into the event. Disaster for the Danish crew.
And this is a new jib on board, as well as a new wing. We have a much bigger jib to go on board. And you can, I quite like how chilled out Sejersted is. He's just like, that didn't last long.
Is there any opportunity to repair that as they go?
No, if the rope is broken, then the rope is broken. You can't tie a knot in it and sheet the sail back on because it wouldn't go through the turning blocks. So they're going to be sailing around with a flappy sail. Got a big lead.
Yeah, big lead, but Japan will be chasing that down. Interesting, Nikolai Sejersted, round the world yachtsman, had a lot of these sort of situations. He's going to be calm in this position here, I'd say.
Japan sits in 2nd place right now, New Zealand in 3rd, and then you see the rest of the fleet really back there with France more than 300 meters behind. The USA, the leaders coming into race number 4, are currently sitting in 6th place, more than 450 meters back of Denmark. But as we said, Denmark having some issues on board. You know, if they had a superstar grinder like Freddie Carr, they might be able to MacGyver that thing. But as it stands right now, they've got 3 legs to get through this.
They're going to struggle to hang on here, Todd, in these light winds. I think when they next tack, they're going to really find it hard to build speed to get on the foil. We can see the Spanish USA, they're at the back of the pack fighting it out on the screen there, and Nathan Outridge, who was 4th before today, he's going to be moving up that leaderboard and really threatening the top. He's on starboard tack. Denmark must stay clear.
You hear Nikolai Sejersted trying to settle a crew. He said, guys, let's stop freaking out. Let's just do what we can do here. So with a 76 meter, now down to 67, and it's dropping quickly. Japan closing in on Denmark, and this would be huge for Nathan Outridge of Japan if they could get the win here.
We know how Nathan loves to use the rules, so he won't be shy of a protest if it's on, but I think Denmark were clear ahead. Brilliant work by Sejersted. That's good. Don't ever look at the jib, sail normal. That was the voice of Tom Johnson, trying to keep Nikolai sailing. He's struggling to make this mark here. I don't know if he's going to make a right turn. If he doesn't, it would be disastrous. Expect Outridge to blast over the top.
You can see there, although Sejersted is sailing a high mode, they have lost about 10 kilometers an hour of boat speed because of that jib.
And look at the speed that New Zealand's coming in, close to 40 kilometers an hour, and Sejersted down to 20.
It's going to be tricky here for Outridge. Denmark has the Nathan Outridge. What do we do here?
Look at the difference between Japan and Denmark on the left. Look at that jib.
Oh, there goes Outridge. He's trying to thread the needle.
Are we trying to make it?
Not the best jibe from Nathan Outridge. He was forced into that decision. He didn't want to get stuck with the Danish. Look at that Danish jib just flapping in the breeze. But Outridge, that was maybe the wrong call. He's jibed back. He's at 15 kilometers an hour and he's in the disturbed wind of the Kiwis. Expect a gain for New Zealand, and even Denmark could hang on here with Japan. That's a mistake for Outridge.
And another maneuver coming the way for the Japanese, so they may lose that first place position as Denmark sits in first. Guys, this is when it broke. Watch this. Pop.
Right here.
Well, that's just such a shame to see for that Danish crew. Obviously trying to save weight with the diameters of the rope they use. Here we go, on board with Great Britain, and we can see Ben Ainsley, he's got a lot of work to do here. He's trying to come back up through the fleet, and that's the wing trim there. You see the back of that wing sail moving all the time. Ian Jensen moving the wing sail all the time there. As we see now, Japan finally up at over 40 kilometers an hour, but how much distance has that cost him? Quite a lot, I would imagine. And Ben Ainsley, well, he's up to 4th at the moment, and he's chasing down Nathan Outridge. Look at Nathan's eyes. He's looking around in this light wind. You're trying to find the breeze. Nathan's, of course, renowned for that. He's renowned for his wind spotting ability.
20 seconds. Going pretty soon here, Chris.
But I'm sure he's brewing that decision at the last turning gate.
2, 1, going forward.
That was very interesting. Let's look at as they step downwind for the last time. We've seen Japan giving up the lead versus New Zealand. That's because New Zealand stepped on from the top gate and jibed in more wind, where the Japanese jibed in a little bit of a hole and had to come back upwind to reattach and get foiling.
As we take a look at the Americans, guys, they split the course. Have they done themselves proper here? Because they're the only ones at the bottom right now. Is this the right call? And can Jimmy Spittle and company make up some time? Because they're in dead last.
I think if you're at the back, Todd, you've got to take a bit of a risk. They've come all the way to this side of the course. You can see how separated from the other boats they are. What that does is it gives them a chance to find more wind, maybe. It's not definitely a good decision, but it's the only way they can give themselves an opportunity. Whereas if you're the Kiwis, like on screen here now, Peter Burling, he's trying to stay near the pack and control where they move. Why? Well, because he's in the lead. He's controlling the decisions. He can make the first choice. Everyone else has to deal with him.
So this is leg 4 of 6 on race number 4. One more fleet race to go, and then it'll be the top 3 battling out in the final race of the day. So it's down here to the next gate, then upwind, and then it's a short blast to the finish line. And the Kiwis and Peter Burling have control of this race, with Japan in 2nd. Great Britain has moved up into 3rd, and Denmark still in the fight, now in 4th.
That's the Kiwi boat. Alex Maloney there on the flight controller there. He's making the boat spin up. He said definite displacement. They had to touch the boat down because they couldn't quite get round that mark in time.
Gonna take off this way? Yep, happy to take off. Here we go.
That's the voice of Peter Burling there saying, can we build up? I think they've come off the foil they've lost, but I think they've sailed less distance. Outridge, well, he's attacking them. He's turned right, looking for opportunity, as is Ben Ainsley. What a move by Ainsley under pressure. Got himself back up and into this race.
And some breaking news, they're going to shorten the course, so it will end on this next leg of the next gate. It will be the finish line, so New Zealand, great news for them. Denmark now into 2nd place with a broken jib, and Japan into 3rd.
And with New Zealand winning this race, it would push them up onto 25 points for the overalls here in France. Japan with their currently in 3rd, that would put them into 2nd, and the USA right now would fall from 1st overnight into 3rd. Super close between the top 6. It would also discount France and USA from getting into the final if it finished where we are.
And France, as they continue to sit in 5th place, the USA has gone now from 8th place to 4th, so Jimmy Spittle doing a fantastic job of salvaging points possibly here on this final leg of race number 4.
That was the voice of Andy Maloney, the flight controller on New Zealand there, counting the numbers up. He's talking about the boat speed. You need to be over 30 kilometres an hour to foil, and we can see here, New Zealand on starboard tack, the gain line's closing down. They should retake the lead over Japan here, but it's tight. Japan will have to keep clear if it's close.
Japan now in the lead, New Zealand and Denmark. The race will end as they pass through this next gate. So they are on leg 5 of 5 on a shortened race. The wind now just holding steady at just over 16 kilometers an hour. The Americans came into race number 4 as the overall leaders in this regatta, but right now they are back in 5th place trying to salvage points. They need another big finish in race number 5.
Todd, how good a job are Denmark doing at the moment of hanging in this race? They're still there in 4th place at the minute, and they've only got one sail. They've got the big wing, but no jib sail. The Kiwis, they're stretching away here. They're in space. And look at this data here. The boat speed. Japan seems to be going a little bit quicker at the moment, but the Kiwis are fractionally better with their fly time, and that could prove to be crucial, although at the moment, Denmark, they've parked up out of that tack. They've misjudged the turn, and without that jib to help them turn, that's really killing them. Oh, it's a disaster.
They're trying to fix it now. You can see a guy on the bowsprit there trying to fix it, trying to just squeeze a little bit of power out the jib, but
the Americans, look at the Americans are sitting as well.
The Americans are struggling in under this Saint-Tropez shoreline, and look, right-hand side of screen, New Zealand, they're still in the lead, but this is really, really close with Japan. We've seen this battle in the London Olympics, we've seen this battle in the Rio Olympics. Burling against Outridge is one of the great stories of international sailing, world-class sailing, and at the moment, it looks like Japan and Nathan Outridge could have popped himself ahead of Japan. As if it's close, Nathan Outridge is on starboard tack, and he has the right of way.
Now here comes Ben Ainsley in Great Britain in 3rd place, so they have moved up 2 positions. So it's New Zealand, Japan, and Great Britain fighting for the finish line as they come down to this last gate. It'll be the finish, and Nathan Outridge, Japan, closing the gap with the right of way, and it forces New Zealand to have to dip behind, and Great Britain also going to factor into this.
Oh, it's hard to see the course from here, Todd, but my guess is they've both got one more tack to do, and it will come down to who can execute that the best. But in the background, Ben Ainsley and the British, they seem to be sailing that boat fast. On board with the New Zealand boat. There's the finish line there to the right of screen. Looks like a big gain to Nathan Outridge at the moment, but it will come down to the quality of this tack. Outridge tacks on board Great Britain. Under 30 kilometres an hour, no one foiling yet. Kiwis are foiling. How good a tack can New Zealand do? That's Chris Draper telling Outridge to press, build speed. Get us foiling, Nathan.
Winding up here. Is it at the finish line or? It's the finish.
Look at this. New Zealand. Look at this tack as they come in, and it's the race for the finish line. Japan has a slight lead and starting to grow as Nathan Outridge has somehow found some pressure in race 4, and the Japanese will take the win on the French Riviera. Great Britain's going to try to edge out Pete Burling and the Kiwis, but it will be the Kiwis and Burling that get 2nd place, forcing Great Britain into 3rd.
What a race that was. That was Ian Jensen and Ben Ainsley discussing whether or not they won the race, but without doubt, great last beat there from Nathan Outridge.
France will come into the finish line in 4th place. Spithill, this will be huge if he can hold on to 5th, and right now he's being covered by both the Danes and the Spanish as Phil Robertson now makes this maneuver, and he's got the full ley line right there on his left-hand side, straight in shot now to the finish.
That means he should be lined up well to it here. Ainsley, look, everyone's looking around.
Kiwis and the Japanese were the 2 that we were racing with.
Oh, this is just... Look at this, Slingsby is even into the mix now. So now it's a race for Australia and Spain. Remember, every point counts, and the Americans are going to miss out on this. The best they're going to do is 7th. As Slingsby comes in, he will take 5th.
That's really going to have tightened up the overall. Robertson, that's not good news for Robertson, a 6th. He'd sailed so well, but just dropped back a little bit at the end there. But bigger news is Jimmy Spithill. Well, he's dropped out the back, and he's really going to have burnt that overnight lead he had here. He's still going to be right in the mix, but that's really going to hurt him.
So now for the Americans, it's a 5th in race number 1. Then they win races 2 and 3. They come back in race number 4 with a disappointing 7th.
Easiest race whenever. Fucking breaks.
Denmark now with their issues. Does it look like they've got that secured, Freddie? It looks like they may have rigged that just to get to the finish.
Yeah, I mean, they've gone from 1st to 8th. You feel for those lads.
Yep.
And what they're trying to do now is actually get ahead of the curve for race number 2. You know, they've written this race off, and they've already started working on the boat for race number 2. Gutted for those guys, sailing really well. They responded well to the break, talked about sailing the boat, but as soon as you lose about 20% of your engine, there's only one way you're going to go in the fleet.
So their shore crew will come ashore, and they will come on board, I should say, and try to fix that, make a repair to get them back out, because in less than 15 minutes, it is the all-important race number 5. So it'll be which team will blink first. It's kind of like American football. You go into prevent defense, and the only thing it does is prevent you from winning. So I doubt that Jimmy Spithill's going to play it on the back foot and play conservative. He'd like to get back to his winning ways and carry that momentum as we are now 1 minute away from the all-important 5th race.
No, the start and this light wind's too important. Okay, so that's Outridge. He's talking about Ben Ainsley maybe being able to affect him from here. Draper and Outridge really discussing the start. We see the blue triangle, left-hand side of screen there. That shows us that this end of the start line, the near end for us, is the hot spot. It's pole position. But at the moment, Ainsley and Burling, top right of screen, they've got the opportunity for a run-in, but will they get trapped out here? 30 seconds coming down to the start. Potentially a gust at the top of the screen, just under the clock. Maybe a bit more wind. Ainsley looks like he spotted it. He's making a definite move up the line here with 20 seconds to go. But for me, it's all about what can Spithill do at the bottom. Can he shut out Great Britain coming, diving into the fleet here. He's on the foils with 10 seconds to go. We're turning down. It's too small a gap, Ben. Surely you're not going to fit through there. Surely that's too tight. Spithill spins the boat with 3 seconds. Big incident. Oh, gunned USA. Clear at the line, Spithill there. Oh, that's a bit of a big moment by Ainsley. Penalty for that incident. He's got to drop behind Denmark. It might not be too costly as Denmark, Rockwell sponsored, and USA first on the foil.
Penalty for GBR, not giving room, and so penalty clear.
And Ainsley knew it as soon as he did it. He was apologising to the lads, but like you said, he's still in the race.
Rolled the dice as Ben Ainsley was trying to channel his inner Emma Raducanu to see if he could pull up the big victory there at the line, and he tries to squeeze in, guys. The penalty there, I wonder if there was contact made. We'll have to revisit that, but as they come up to mark number 1, it is Denmark once again in the lead with Australia in 2nd and the USA in prime position sitting in 3rd.
Well, that's a big result. We did say Ben Ainsley needed to win the race, but at the right-hand side of the screen, Japan, Great Britain and New Zealand are at the back. Spithill, first to jibe. He's going to be in good shape here. Looks like he's on the foils and up and running, and it's nice to see the Danish, after that disastrous breakage in the race before, moving to the lead.
Is this the event that the Americans get their first overall win as Jimmy Spithill tries to guide his team into the final race? They need to be in the top 3. Guys, that start was critical, and Stevie, you've talked about before how important that start was as Ben Ainsley tried to thread the needle in there.
There we go, watching this replay. There's Ainsley, middle of screen, tries to get through a gap. It's too aggressive, there's no gap to get through. And here we go, look at him, look at that gap, it's shrinking, it's shrinking. He knows he's made a mistake. He apologising to his crew there when he's, oh, that could have got a lot worse. I think that's the rudder hitting the Spanish boat here. That's no good. Look at Ainsley, his eyes everywhere, but it's really rare to see that misjudgment. That was the rudder hitting the back of the Spanish boat, and we're coming into gate 2. Denmark hold the lead. Great work by Sehested, and Slingsby in 2nd with, interesting, the Spanish up to 3rd. Phil Robertson giving himself a chance. Spithill needs to watch out.
Yeah, this is right now, this is great news for the Spanish and USA. This is not great news for New Zealand and Great Britain, and I have a feeling because there was contact with the British boat and the Danes, they might have a penalty point or 2 hanging over them as well.
Press a little bit here.
Big crash, wasn't it, Freddie? We're on board with Sehested there on the helm. He looks calm. Well, he's got to be happy. Leading again. What a day this could have been. Here we go, setting up for attacks. Happy to land. Means he doesn't think he can do a foiling tack. So we need to keep the hull flying. And we see at the bottom there, look, the Kiwis and Japan out the back. Well, we said they could take it easy. This is a bit too easy from the Kiwis and the Japanese at the moment.
So Outridge sits in 7th place, and look at the Kiwis having all kinds of issues way back in 8th. The battle will be for the top 3 positions. Team USA looks pretty good in 5th place, and Australia now moving up to 2nd, Spain in 3rd, maybe the biggest winners on this race so far.
Absolutely, look at that. New Zealand, he's still got to go to the gate to the left of screen. He's trying to get downwind. This is disastrous. It's in Spain's hands at the moment. What can they do for this race to the final? At the moment, the Kiwis are having a disaster here. Great Britain. That's Ainsley. Look, it's calm back on board the British boat. That's what you've got to do. You've got to reset. Ben's not happy. I think it's a look at the foil there. Probably seeing a bit of damage. But look at Sehested. He's found wind, sailed a shorter distance, and these are the live results on the screen at the moment, Fred.
Yeah, and it's changing a lot right now, and I think where the Spanish are sitting in 2nd place, they would leapfrog New Zealand and nick 3rd spot off them. This is very, very dynamic.
As it stands right now, now would be the USA, Japan, and New Zealand moving in. But with New Zealand now still mired back in 8th place, they need help. They need Spain or someone else to fall back so they can move themselves in. And it's Australia now battling with Spain for 2nd place.
That's right, the Spanish. This is great to see for Phil Robertson, Florian Trittel, Diego Botan. Botan and Trittel had disappointment in the Tokyo Olympics.
Right.
What a remedy this could be for them. This is Sehested here and Johnson discussing the mode. They're learning the wing all the time. They want the boat leaning towards them, so the weight of that big wing is helping them.
Stand by.
Here we go, setting up for attack here. Sehested takes the wing. Tom Johnson runs across.
It's a foiler. Keep turning.
Nice tack.
Angle.
Nice tack by the Danish crew there. Pop the boat up onto the foils. Can they get it to fly? They're struggling. No, it's touching down. Having to land the boat down. They just didn't have enough speed to stay on the foils. And in the background, well, it's the Spanish. They've tacked. They're looking slow as well as Besson. Besson, will Besson be the boat to save Burling? Here he is on board with the French. Billy Besson needs a good last race, up to 3rd on the leaderboard at the moment, and we can see it's very difficult.
And these points really don't hurt the other ones that are trying to get into that finalist, because Denmark and France at the bottom of the leaderboard, not sure they can even make the final with a win or a 2nd place. So for the USA, this is good news. For Japan, also good news. But New Zealand in 8th place, they got to help themselves.
Well, we've got to see the results. It's all very tight. I'm surprised not to see the Spanish in that screen, but the Danish are very close. But of course, their situation can't get any better.
Right.
New Zealand's can't get any worse. So at the moment for Denmark, they cannot quite make it. And no, it's all about how much can Spain progress up this leaderboard. Are they ahead of Besson and France? Slingsby, well, he needs a good race for the overalls as well, and he's 2nd at the moment. So it's so amazing to see the top guys at the bottom. And, well, it's a big day on the abacus for the guys behind the scenes.
Americans finally coming to view, currently sit in 2nd place as their speed has dropped now precipitously, now below 20 kilometers an hour.
Tight situation at the top here. Robertson has right of way. Can the Australian and the French crew get round the front of him? If they can, it's all okay. If not, yeah, it looks clear. But that was potentially a very tight situation, and Robertson drops from 2nd to 4th. He's going to need to find something special on this downwind leg.
So Denmark, Australia, France right now top 3. As Freddie told us before the start of this race, really not in contention to move on to the final 3. So then you have to look down to teams like Spain, Great Britain, the USA, Japan, New Zealand sitting in last place. For the Americans, I think they probably want to be, what do you think, Stevie, Freddie, one more position higher, maybe 5th or 4th to make themselves feel a little more comfortable?
It's not going to be very comfortable on the board that American boat at the moment, but I imagine it's a lot less comfortable on the Kiwi boat, looking at the score sheet to the left of screen there. Spithill sneaks inside Ainsley. That could be crucial. And we're on board here, trying to get the boat back on the foil. Taylor Canfield sat in the hatch there, in replacing Roan Kirby this weekend as flight controller. Big responsibility on his shoulders, dropping into the team like this.
Cooper Dressler also joining Team USA as they're back to 5. Yesterday they were sailing with 3.
Right, I'm happy to be wrong because I'm scratching my head more than I've ever scratched it in my life. Right now, I've got Japan on 26, USA on 25, New Zealand on 25, Spain on 24, Great Britain on 23, Denmark on 21. But like I said, that comes with a big caveat, because this race is wide open.
Is that caveat your C grade in GCE mathematics, Freddie?
I got a B, thank you.
But yeah, we see top of
6.
Top of screen as well. What's going to change those maths was Phil Robertson has found more wind. We're seeing the Danish crew up on the foils and flying ahead, but the leaderboard tells us that Spain have moved through to 3rd. He did find more wind, and that one place can turn out to be absolutely crucial for this final race. I think Robertson knows that as he tries to cover off Besson and the French team and cling on to that 3rd place.
Nikolai Sehested in Denmark SailGP, presented by Rockwell, looking for their 2nd win. Remember, they got a victory in Aarhus in Denmark, and it's all on Spain now, trying to reel them in and get themselves into the final.
Oh, that's a big moment. We said that. He's up to 3rd. He needs to cling on to this 3rd place. Robertson here.
Boundaries and 2200, sorry.
Phil Robertson, he's worried that the French are on starboard. When I jibe, I need to jibe and dip behind, because when he jibes, he'll be on port. He doesn't have the right of way. Big move coming up for the Spanish there as we see the Danish round up at gate 4.
As the Danish go round the leeward mark in the lead, I'm looking at my umpire app, which is my over-the-top course. I can see the whole course, and New Zealand haven't even gone round the windward mark yet. They are going to finish 8th, so do not expect them to move up the leaderboard. They have dropped off the back of the fleet.
And look at the difference in speed as they approach gate 4. Spain, 42 kilometres an hour. Australia at just 15. Disastrous jibe by Slingsby. And that's opened the door for Robertson now. Can he get round the outside of the French? He needs to stay in 3rd to make the final.
This is big for Spain. This really could catapult them up into the final.
That was a great bottom end of the leg there. We're on board with the French saying H1. Well, that's H2, boys. You've overdone it. Here we go. They're going to get the boat up on the side. H1 now, and they're trying to hold that gap. But look, one boat foiling, one boat in the water. I'd rather be on the foiling boat, thanks. So would Phil Robertson. Look at him. Look round as the French disappear out of shot.
This is leg 5 of 6 in race number 5. They finish this, then it's a quick, short right-hand turn to the finish line as the USA now gets around the gate, finally at gate number 4. Ahead of Australia, and Great Britain and Japan have fallen off the pace.
Look at that jibe, how much it's cost Australia. They're limping in like a snail to this turning mark, and they've gone from 2nd to 6th on that downwind just due to one bad jibe where they couldn't quite get the speed. Jimmy Spitter, well, it's not his most glorious race, but he snuck up to 4th. Paul Campbell-James talking to him there.
And pop if you want it right now.
There you go, they're being conservative. They don't want to risk getting up on the foil. They're going to try and minimise the distance they sail by sailing a bit closer to the wind with the hull up. And there, Phil Robertson crosses ahead of the French, and it looks really, really good as at the top of the screen, there's the Kiwis coming downwind. Disaster for Burling, Tuke and Maloney on board that boat.
And I think with that leeward mark manoeuvre by the Spanish on the French, that might just be the point they need. It pushed them up into 2nd place in this race, and that will push them up into 2nd place. If you're in the top 3, you're racing in race 6, the grand final.
On board with France.
France have got an issue with their jib, I've just heard. Have they got the same problem that Denmark had in race 1?
Is this a byproduct, do you think, of the 29-meter weight?
There's so much load going through these boats with that massive amount of wing and sail area up there, and they're learning as they're going.
Please stop trimming when I'm trying to get wind with you. Trimming up.
Here we go. That's Tom Johnson. He's trying to get the boat to lean on top of him. If that leans on top of him, that big wing sail's helping keeping him upright and giving him more power. And there you go. Look at the speed build for the Danish. And it's tight though. Phil Robertson's on a charge. Really tight.
And once again, like in race number 4, the course has been shortened, so it will finish at the next gate. The finish line coming up. There you see it less than, 250 meters away is Denmark on their way to their 2nd victory of season 2. As Spain closes in, they don't have to win this race to get themselves into the grand final. Just hold steady on position 2 as France bears in on 3rd.
All going to come down to this one tack here now, guys.
And this is why Spain are going to get into the final. They didn't have a great start. They went round in 5th. They are now in 2nd, and they're the 3 points that they needed to get them 2nd overall.
Story of their season, Freddie. They're great at overtaking boats. Best in the fleet. Overtaking boats statistically. Split screen here. Look at this tack. Phil Robertson on the left. The Danish crew on the right. That's Costner in the hull there, flying the boat. And it's a good tack by both crews. Could be a race victory for Danish. Have to say they thoroughly deserve it after that poor luck in the one before.
You could argue they should have won 2 races today, and then they would have been in the grand final. I'm gutted for them. I'm gutted for them.
There you go. That's exactly, there you go. Sefstedt could have been 2 from 2.
It will be Denmark on the French Riviera getting the victory in race number 5. Spain will come into 2nd place, but that's good enough to get them into the grand final.
Nice one, boys. Good race.
That's good news. Florian Trittel was in the NACRA class in Tokyo. Diego Bourdin, his head down there. The flight controller, 49er, both of the medal favourites. Both of them came home empty-handed.
Just need to do a big damage assessment on this runner, right?
What a result it would be to take away a win here in SailGP.
I'm gonna talk about theories here. If Denmark had won the race where their jib sheet broke, they'd be at the top of the event leaderboard with 2 wins today. Gutted for them.
Absolutely gutted, but great improvement. Nice for Besson to finish with a 3rd place. But I heard there, Phil Robertson, we need to check the damage. That's coming back to that. That could, of course, have an effect on the final. If that Spanish boat has been damaged by Ben Ainsley's British boat, what effect could that have on the final? It certainly didn't seem to have slowed it down.
It will be the USA coming into 4th place with Slingsby sitting in 5th. So Great Britain looks to be shut out of the final.
So the Americans booking their spot. We're used to seeing them in the final. They are the most unlucky crew in the final. Let's see how this one pans out for them. They're often there, but they never deliver so far.
We'll see if Jimmy Spithill can guide his team. They've been in the final before, unable to deliver the big win, and today could be their day on the French Riviera at the France Sail Grand Prix here in Saint-Tropez.
Hold wheel straight.
Great Britain's going to come in with some nice speed, good angle. They're going to overtake Australia. They will finish in 5th place, but just a little too late.
So we're rolling round to our 15-minute race time, and as Australia cross the line, 15 minutes rolls past, and the scores that you see down the left-hand side of the screen is where we're going to finish. So that is it. Race 3 is in the race 5 is in the can.
So Japan goes from a race 4 finish victory, and they finish in 7th. New Zealand finished in 2nd in race 4, and they go to 8th.
Umpires, boundary penalty Spain, boundary penalty Spain.
Well, there you go, a penalty there in this pre-start bit. The Spanish were outside the zone. We heard Phil Robertson panicking, but Ali's going to give us a bit of an update on the boats.
Confirmation that there is damage to the Spanish boat between that happened in the collision between the Great Britain boat and the Spain in the pre-race, so just over the start in the last race. Spain have got damage, but they're going to be clear to race because the umpires deemed that the GB boat were in the wrong, so there'll be no points deduction for Spain. They're clear to race in this final.
Seconds now to go. Who's got the best position?
Well, at the moment, Outeridge has dug inside. Phil Robertson must start behind the other 2 boats. That's the penalty he's been given already. Spithill trying to find space, but Outeridge, that's a dominant starting position. Who can be on board, up on the foils at the soonest moment after this start will be crucial. Spanish will have to start behind the fleet. That's their penalty. We see that they're hanging back, but he's got an opportunity to be on the foils and make that a very small penalty. Spithill turns towards the line with 6 seconds to go. There's no room at the top. Outeridge looks like he's slightly late. Is Spithill early? Outeridge is late. Spithill nails the start. There's nowhere in there for Robertson. Surely another protest coming at the start there. Penalty for the pre-start's clear. Will he get another one as Spithill up on the foils? Advantage Spithill.
Could Japan get to Spain? That's the question that Craig, the umpire, will be looking at. Could Japan get to Spain? Doesn't look like it because there's no Spanish penalty.
The majestic F-50's off and running here on the French Riviera.
Turning away there, that's Paul Campbell-James. Look, the mark's way off to the left of screen. Spithill closing the boats out, and now he's trying to keep the boat going away. We heard Phil Robertson say, big right shift, and
there it is.
Spain, you have a penalty. You need to go behind Japan.
Oh, pre-start penalty, that was long and late.
Was that not a black flag previously?
You're absolutely having one.
It's another penalty, Phil. It's another penalty, mate. I think that's the problem there. No good. We don't like to hear that.
Is Phil Robertson the gift that just keeps on giving on close races?
Seems to be here. And look at that. We've got some boats in the field of play at the moment. Let's hope that doesn't become an issue. But a great jibe by Jimmy Spithill. He's around Mark 1, and he's obviously looking for this big wind shift that's happened. Could be heading straight towards gate 2.
That's a put-behind penalty on the Spanish on the Japanese. The Japanese weren't looking great. They've now just done a bad jibe. What does this all mean? This means it's great news for the boat we're on board with now, as the other two boats are just drifting back behind them. The course is wide open.
Penalty clear, penalty clear, penalty
Look
clear.
at the speed difference there, Freddie. USA 44 kilometres an hour. The other two boats are just 30, and in the background we can see the Spanish are off the foils. Penalty showing on board Japan at the moment. Not sure what that's for, but here we go. They're on board the Spanish boat. Those big grinders, Sean Barber, working hard.
Coming down, okay? Here we go.
Got to get things calm on board the boat here. Big moment of bad luck there, and at gate 2, Jimmy Spithill is just running away with this. The rich are going to get richer here.
So at this gate, it is USA SailGP looking to break their string of bad luck on season 2, and Jimmy Spithill, you've just given him a huge advantage.
Well, and it's no surprise to see them take a left turn there. We've heard about a right-hand shift. They're sailing towards that shift. Jimmy Spitill's trying to find the shortest path to the next mark, and Phil Robertson hanging on to second place despite those penalties. I think the race is for second and third, because Jimmy Spithill, barring disaster, although we've said that before, Fred.
Well, barring disaster, the Americans are winning this race. They were winning the final in Taranto and their rudder broke. They were winning the final in Plymouth and they fell out the sky because of a rudder problem. So my question to Jimmy is, how your rudder's feeling, mate? Because if they're feeling shaky, we've seen it before.
Well, we can see it's got light after this bottom gate. Gate number 2, it's been a bit of a change-up. There's only 100 metres in it at the moment, and the Americans struggling to get back on the foils, with Phil Robertson foiling right out towards this boundary. It's a long, long race, I think. Maybe calling it a little bit too early.
That was the voice of Paul Campbell-James encouraging his boat there. Come on, boat, let's get going. And you never know in these high-stress situations, a bit positive chat, get the boat on the foil, there's another 5 kilometres an hour.
One of the beautiful mega yachts in the background. Talk about a great view. Look at this. The USA out in front, Spain in second, Japan in third. This is the grand final at the France Sail Grand Prix in Saint-Tropez. The Americans with the lead. There's the crew. Spithill, Campbell-James, Canfield, Sinclair, and Andrew Campbell on board.
That's right, big moment for Taylor Canfield. He's jetted in last minute to replace Rome Kirby. He was having to try and pass COVID tests in the middle of the week, and then he's having to learn to fly an F50 with this huge new wing.
Bow down, yep. It's going to be H1 here, probably. Yeah,
That's
H1.
Talking here, look how high they're struggling to fly the boat on board the Japanese boat. The only boat up and foiling at the moment is the Spanish. As the US fall off the foils, they go H1. That means when they've just got one hull in the water, and they're just trying to minimise the drag by keeping only one hull out of the water, but they're not fast enough to get up on the foils and fly.
Tell you what's happened on this upwind, there's been a big right shift, a 30-degree right shift. That means that the USA, who are out to the right of Japan, are rotating inside them and increasing their lead. But I tell you what, it's not about shift anymore, it's about wind. Where is the next puff of wind coming from?
That's the voice of Nathan Outridge there talking about what's going on. I like where the Spanish have gone if it's turned right. They could come back in later on in things here, but no, popping up onto the foils, it's the USA. They found that gust of wind first. Good news for Spithill and Campbell-James on the American boat, and the Japanese finally up on the foils, the first time on this upwind leg. And look at that, Morishima going hard on the grinding pedestal there. Nathan Outridge setting up for attack.
2, 1 going forward.
The Spanish still not in any wind at the moment, 25 kilometres an hour, and it's Outridge chasing down Spithill. We saw this in Taranto. What's going to happen here? The Spanish on starboard tack, but some way back.
Not higher.
So as they approach gate number 3, USA in the lead, Japan in second, Spain falling back their speed under 30 kilometers an hour here in the grand final.
And the Japanese, they're up. They should be foiling. The Americans squeezing it up on the foil, but I think it'll be a small gain to Outridge. It's going to be who can sneak the boat up and through this gate first. That's Campbell-James. Take the height up. He's talking to Jimmy Spithill. They want to try and take a right turn on gate 3 here. Spithill can definitely do that.
Yeah, copy.
Feels like the Americans are laying, and it feels like the Japanese definitely have to do another tack. If you're Jimmy Spithill, do you match or do you try and lay in on this?
I think I match, but he's let him go. He's trying to keep it simple. It's Campbell-James there. They can make it easily. Reassuring words from Campbell-James, but there will be a split now, and we've seen how gusty the wind is, Freddie. What we need to see is what the sailors can see, which is where the wind is. Who's guessed right as to where the breeze is? Turning right was Jimmy Spittle, but he's sailing towards Saint-Tropez and now turning the mark, Nathan Outridge. Well, this could be crucial. Who finds the next gust of wind could determine who wins here in Saint-Tropez. Outridge,
So
the wind
Japan
whisperer.
looking for their second overall victory of season number 2. The USA looking for their first. And Spain currently sitting in third, trying to get back into it. They fall off the speed incredibly as they drop down. And it looks like advantage going to Japan as their speed is starting to increase over 40 kilometers an hour.
You don't often bet against Outridge in these conditions, do you? And he's come round the mark. Looks like he's found breeze. That's Jimmy Spittle. He's trying to build the speed. He's talking another one to windward. He's talking about a gust, another gust to windward. He's looking for the darker patches on the water. There you go. Wow, big gust. Look at the boat tip up. Look at the background there.
And look at the true wind speed, USA and Japan just had about 3 kilometers an hour more wind over on that far side of the course. I wonder if we'll see that translated when they come back together.
But look at the angle difference, Freddie. The wind has swung right round
Big
to
right
the
shift.
Saint-Tropez shoreline. So that means Jimmy Spittle at the moment is sailing a much shorter distance, but if that wind reaches Outridge, he'll be through gate 4 and gone. There you go. He's finding that right-hand wind. That's Chris Draper saying, reassuring, yeah, good wind, take it down. Whoa. Big shift, big catch. The wind is changing direction all the time. The horsepower that's going into these boats is changing all the
That's a
time.
reset, and I just think the right shift has hung in on the Americans here, and they're just paralleling the boundary coming down as the Japanese are only H1 and the Americans are foiling, and the Americans have got one jibe to do in. This next cross is massive.
The only fact that matters here is which wind is the leeward marking. If the wind's in that wind at Saint-Tropez side where Jimmy Spittle's in, it's great news for Jimmy Spittle. If the wind's in the other direction, then Nathan Outridge could make his way down and he won't have to do another jibe, which would be huge for Japan. Here we go.
I'm looking at the numbers, and the breeze at the leeward gate is in the right-hand shift, but it looks like the Japanese have got good pressure.
Big gain this will be for Nathan Outridge. He can sneak round that mark with gate 2 on it. Just trying to keep the boat tipped onto one hull. Look, the crew running down to help it turning down. Look at Outridge, he's pointing at us, he's not. He's pointing at wind on the water. This wind that Phil Robertson mentioned before the start.
That's just super soft on the water. Okay, wing to leeward, please. Big wing down. And that mark is so far down there, so it's definitely go and then probably lead the tack. Hopefully we get that
Hope to
pressure
come back, and they're trying to find that wind, but
struggling here.
And guys, the course has been shortened yet again, so it'll be to leg number 5 will be the last leg to the finish line. It will not be that last reach.
Still stuck at the top of the course.
Right, I'm reading the wind data from the top of the course, and the breeze goes 40 degrees back left, and the pressure doubles.
well, there you go. Big decision to make here for Outridge then. He's got to try and guess which way Jimmy Spittle's going to go.
Right now.
There you go.
And then we want to get it and get across to the left at the top.
He's seeing what you're seeing, Fred.
Well, I'm only seeing it because I've got the instrumentation coming off the mark. So the wind direction at the bottom is out of 200 degrees. The wind direction at the top is out of 150. At the top, it's 17 kilometers an hour. Where they are now, it's 6.
The last leg, I'd say. If Outridge can find the breeze before Spittle, Outridge is going to be in good shape. But this is a huge opportunity, and it's all about finding those dark patches of water. The sailors can't see the wind, but they can see the wind hitting the water, and they can see the effect that has, Tom.
Amazing how the wind has dropped down. It was at 16, 18 kilometers an hour to start the day, and it's now below 8. And this is just a casual cruise now at 5, back up to 6 kilometers an hour. So no one's going to be foiling with that kind of wind speed.
Super, super light. You've got to move like a mouse in carpet slippers here. Get ready for attack.
Standing by.
Chris Draper, look.
You got a little lift into it.
Took that little lift. That's helping him turn up. The Spanish there at 25 kilometers an hour. Could be back in the game. I like the decision by Outridge in Japan, though. Early tack. He thinks he can then make a long way back up the course. Phil Robertson, he's going to split. He's going to turn right. Rolling the dice. Will he come up Yahtzee?
And vamos.
So this is the last leg of the grand final. Japan with the lead, the USA finally rounding that gate. They're onto the final leg, and Spain coming in hot.
Spain up on the foils in the background. That's Paul Campbell-James saying we can lift a hull out of the water, tip us up, reduce the drag. But look at the angle Outridge is sailing. He's sailing almost straight up those ladder lines. That suggests he's aiming nearly straight at the next gate. Phil Robertson setting up here. Looks to split away straight into attack, using that speed into the attack. Jimmy Spithill needs to respond here, or Phil Robertson. Great manoeuvre by the Spanish crew there, nearly kept it on the foils, but it's an aggressive tactical manoeuvre, and they're foiling again straight away. What a move by Robertson.
Could Spain go from last to first on the final leg here in the grand final? They've overtaken the Americans who had the lead early on. Japan holds it now, but they're in light breeze.
Yeah, Phil Robertson's talking about the lefty, and that was the breeze that we saw at the Windward Gate as they were coming into their last leeward gate. So Phil Robertson is rolling the dice. He's seen that pressure there, but it looks like the Japanese are in a pretty controlling position.
Oh, Alteridge, he's been in this position before. He's up and foiling. What a sight for Japanese fans. That in left-hand shot is Alteridge, right-hand shot Robertson. It's a nice move by Phil Robertson, but Nathan Alteridge is nearly aiming at the finish, looking at these ladders. That yellow line is the lay line. He's sailing parallel to that yellow line. That suggests to me he's nearly aiming at the finish. What a moment this could be for the Japanese. And Jimmy Spithill, even the wing gods shut off for him when he was in a comfy lead.
Unbelievable. Not a technical malfunction this time for the Americans, as they just fell into an empty pocket of wind on that last rounding at gate number 5, and Japan catapults into the lead. They came slow, and then they found the breeze as Phil Robertson and Spain have pushed into second place. But the French Riviera will belong to the Japanese as Nathan Outridge will claim his second win. Congratulations, Japan SailGP, as they claim the France Grand Prix.
You don't mess with Nathan Outridge on a light, shifty day, do you?
A light, shifty day and a 29-meter wing, and Outridge somehow finds a way to milk the most out of the course.
Oh, it's battle for second though. Spithill looks like he's found that wind. He's up and foiling, and he's coming straight through. Good save by Spithill. I don't think the Spanish will get out of that corner. I love the move by Phil Robertson. He had to take on, he had to attack. Completely embraced what he did there. He's got some complaints at the start, I'm sure, but Jimmy Spithill, he sailed a brilliant event, but second again. He's happy that'll be good for the season standings.
Yep.
But that's not great news in this event. Jimmy needs a win.
So Japan gets their second win of the season. Australia's had 2 wins as well, and the Americans shut out again at the top spot of the podium. But to your point, Stevie, they finished in second and the boat's intact.
It's better than it's been for them before.
Yeah,
but,
no question. You think about the first race, they finished in 5th, and their wing trimmers got coming off a broken leg.
Yeah, the
second place is pretty awesome.
Yeah, fair one.
And Japan, 4th overnight. They love a Sunday and come back and win the event. We've seen them do that before, come away from not being on the podium. And listen to them.